Yo, 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 what's up everybody? Motivate, hydrate, feel fucking great, big flex. What's up? About Wellbeing Podcast, episode 10, guys. How are we doing? Alright, so today I'm basically, I've got a lot to talk about. And don't mind me, I'll be looking at my screen a lot because I've taken some notes. I'm going to educate you all on hydration intently. I'm going to be talking about what actually is hydration, what happens like in your actual body, what happens in your guts, what happens to your brain, and some theories and studies to be like why and how much water do we actually need to fucking drink. Just let you know, it's Frosty Fridays today, guys. Fuck yeah, we get an ice bath every Friday, and yeah, and the weather's fantastic. God, puts you in such a good mood, doesn't it? So firstly, what I'd like to say is I hope you take something out of this. If you haven't got like, this is very pen and paper, maybe take some notes or maybe just start drinking some water. So what I'll do at the end of this podcast is I'll give you a couple of action points to take on if you would like to take on board any of this stuff as far as how you can actually and what you can do to do this. But this is really interesting. Stay tuned. You'll never not want to be drinking water ever again after listening to this, I'm quite sure of it. So I've been doing some research. I've done some crazy hectic research, and basically for some crazy Australian research, what we've got is like some of these studies. I've got studies from Sunshine Coast Daily, studies from some hydration water place, Fawcett, Aquasania, which is another one. Then we actually have some peer-reviewed studies as well, from like PubMeds, which is public medication documents. People who have gone through and actually done the actual studies, and also Medical News Daily. So this is an interesting fact. If you are only mildly dehydrated, which is like roughly 2% dehydrated, you are 114% more likely to make an error, which is like the same sort of mistakes you'd make as if you were pissed drinking alcohol. What? So in order, so like obviously people listening to this, we're all about being the most total, complete, optimized human beings possible. We're going to be high performance. We want to get shit done, crush stuff, and live our most desired lives. Lives, I should say. To maintain peak levels of productivity, the body needs to be fully hydrated, like 100%. 1% is literally, studies have shown that 1% in total body water content, like dehydration, can negatively affect your mood and your cognitive ability. What? There was one of the studies showed that 80% of Australians suffer from symptoms of dehydration, and the majority don't recognise what the key symptoms are. So what are the symptoms to know that you're even dehydrated? It's a crazy question, and until you go over it, you don't really know, but we'll get into that. 60% of Australian workers show up. This was like tradespeople, but 60% of Australian workers show up unfit for work due to hydration. What? So 1% drop in hydration leads to 12% drop in productivity. They've tested that a few times. That was a good study, that one. And the chances are, if you go like, how often are you dehydrated? The chances are often. Oh gosh. So the main things I want you to really like to get out of that was that, 80% of Australians are dehydrated, which is nuts. And the dehydration results in a loss of productivity and performance from 12 to 50%, depending on how dehydrated you are. So just as a question to pose to you, to obviously think to yourself, is what would a 12% increase in productivity mean for you? Like in general, as far as just getting shit done for your life, for your health, like what would that mean? How easy and effective is it to increase your hydration by 1%? Super easy. What would it look like as well if like 80% of the people who are Australians who show signs of dehydration, what would it look like if everyone was 12% more productive? You know what I mean? We could be doing something good together. So basically, like, look, our lungs are made out of 90% water. Our blood is 85% water, our skin is 80% water, our brain is 75% water, our muscles are 75% water, and our bones are 30% water. So we be needing water. So that's what I'm just trying to make that point. So, what actually is dehydration? So Dehydration basically occurs when you're losing fluids. The amount of fluids that you're losing is not the same amount of fluids that you're putting back in. Now, we get fluids as well. We get it from drinking, we get it from food. And then there's a few things like ginger salts and a couple other things as well that help you hold water and absorb it properly. Because it's one thing to drink a lot of water, but you also have to be absorbing it as well, which is really interesting. So that's basically the main description of dehydration. Means more water is moving out of your cells in the body than what is actually taken in through drinking or eating. So dehydration causes excessive water and salts to lose from the body. So what actual hydration is really actually those salts. Because when you drink water, and if you look at like the back package of water when you get water and stuff, it'll say magnesium, manganese, iron, zinc, potassium, and have all those salt levels. And then there's a reason why like sports drinks say replace what you have lost while you're training, and it's literally they've literally just mixed salts into flavored water so that you get the salts to hydrate yourself. Like that's and anything else that may help absorb it. Like that's literally it, and that's what they put in there, and that's the whole reason. You look at water; it's basically just liquefied salt. So I do not condone adding sodium or like table salt to your water. Don't do that. But I'm saying if you get a good quality salt, that's really beneficial to ingest with your water or eating some sort of foods or something that is really high in mineral content. Extremely important. Celtic salt is the best one, highest, purest form, or an organic sea salt. You'll get a lot out of that. But table salt, do not condone putting that in your water. Not good. Yeah, water is vital for the body to maintain blood volume, control body temperature, to allow your muscles to function properly. It only takes a 2% of total water content for your body to start feeling thirsty, like a total loss. So if you lose 2% is when you start feeling thirsty. So at 1% you're already dehydrated and you've lost 12% productivity. 2% is when you start to feel thirsty. So as soon as you're thirsty, you'll need a hydrate. Yeah, but basically once you're at that point, once you're at 2%, your body is like dehydrated. Dehydration delays reaction time. Muscle blood flow is reduced with dehydration, especially during prolonged exercise. So if you're in the gym, anything for like half an hour to like an hour plus, you're losing a lot of water, and dehydration can really settle in unless you're doing the right things. Dehydration limits strength, power, high intensity, and endurance. That is extremely important to consider if you are an athlete, if you are someone who's trying to maximize, the best physical results possible for yourself. Extremely important to know, dehydration limits everything. So we all don't want to be dehydrated. What have we got next? So causes of dehydration. So this is extremely important. Extremely important. So what actually causes it? Hot or cold weather. When you're cold, your body's going to try to warm up. So the cold, your body pumps blood around to try and warm you up. When it's hot weather, you sweat out everything. Being sick causes significant dehydration. Now 2 seconds, my dad's just rocked up. I'm going to pause this video and I'll be back in a second. Well, being sick makes you extremely dehydrated. It's like because your immune system uses a whole bunch of water to like when you get hot sweats and things like that, but your immune system uses a lot of water in your stomach and like to make you sweat and regulate your temperature in order to get rid of whatever's going wrong with you. Exercise, stressful conditions, even like being stuck in traffic or worrying about work, things like that, make you dehydrated. Alcohol, diabetes, high blood sugar levels, high sugar and high processed foods like donuts, not a good, make you dehydrated. Also eating a really large meal in one sitting zaps your water. Low carb diets. Carbs hold water. Not eating many carbs, you'll need some more water. Sleep deprivation, dry air. So if you're from Adelaide or South Australia, anywhere where it's dry climate, you need more water. Air conditioners absolutely sap water out the air and sap water out of yourself. So you need to drink more, especially if you're like air conditioners, heaters, crazy. Increased heart rate. Anytime your heart rate is increased, all of those things can actually cause dehydration. Yeah, so that's like the main causes. Symptoms. So, I said beforehand, a lot of Australians don't know what the symptoms of dehydration are. Well, I'm about to tell you. So, feeling lethargic or tired. This one gets me all the fucking time. Every time that I'm like tired or something's going on and I'm like, oh man, I just don't have the energy that I do usually have today. Or I'm like, oh, my brain, I'm not as focused as usual. Remember, 1%. decrease in body water, 12% productivity, cognitive function, gone. People are like, oh, what is going on? Next minute, I grab this bad boy, I'm holding a 1 gallon litre jug of water, if you can't see, and I scull half the fucking thing. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I feel great! Like, what happened? Oh man, so that's a huge one. Feeling tired is one of the biggest signs for saying you're dehydrated. Struggling with concentration, obviously if you can't focus, same kind of thing. Suffering with headaches, struggling to sleep, feeling thirsty all the time. I had a coaching meeting with some people the other day and they were asking, they were like, there was a girl and she's like, she doesn't eat much. And she's like, but I'm thirsty all the time and I can't figure out. And I was talking to naturopaths and I was talking to all these other people like, why am I so thirsty all the time? And I was like, well, you're not eating much food, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, food is also made up of like, you know, depending what food you're having, 60 to 90 to 99% water because you're not eating much. You need more water. And they were like, oh my gosh, we got like blood tests done and, cut things to sort stuff out. But it was really, all it come down to was you just need to drink more water because you're not eating too much. So, huge thing there. Sunken eyes. So sunken eyes are a good show for that. Dry or sticky mouth, lips or tongue, dry skin, headaches, muscle cramps, mood swings, obviously darker pee, feeling dizzy or lightheaded, especially when standing up, and then a decreased peeing frequency. Sometimes though, with the getting up and feeling dizzy, sometimes it doesn't actually come from dehydration. Sometimes if I drink lots of water, what happens is if you're drinking lots of water, it also acts as a diuretic. You pee a lot, it gets rid of your body water type of thing. So a lot of the time is sometimes you might think, oh God, I need to like drink more water, but the hydration actually you need is from salts. So I'll put Celtic salt and lemon in my water, especially in a cup, make it a little bit more dense. I have something like a bone broth, and then immediately I'm like, oh, I feel better again. And you stand up and I'm not so dizzy anymore. And I'm like, what? I fixed it. So yeah, they're the main symptoms, and then like there's some more severe symptoms like really dark pee, strong dizziness, really low blood pressure, rapid heart rate, rapid breathing rate, so your breathing goes up, fainting, fever, all of that stuff. You get seizures, you know what I mean? So be careful. Now, here's some really important parts. How do you actually lose water? There's 3 ways. You pee, you sweat, and you sleep. No, it's not. Sorry, that was wrong. That was so wrong. It's sweating, peeing, and breathing. Gosh, I got the thing right here. I couldn't read it because it was zoomed out on my notes. So, you lose water from actually sweating. Exercise, moving, hot weather, stress, sweating, sick, sweating. Peeing. Obviously, anytime you need to pee, water's going to go. See you later. And breathing. So, anytime you're literally breathing, like when you're running, exercising, you're stressed out about something, it's really cold, trying to warm up when it's cold, all of those things, you're going to lose water. What do you do at night time when you go to bed and you go to sleep? You sweat all night, you wake up to pee, and you breathe all night without putting any water in. Sleeping is critical to be hydrated, around sleeping time, or the main point is when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be dehydrated. So hydrate yourself. And that's one of the main strategies that I'll stick to, and one of the action points that I give to you. And it's like literally every single morning, wake up, have a litre of water, or close to. I have a protein shaker, so it's like 700 to 800 mils, and I put a huge pinch of Celtic salt and a lemon in there and drink that. First thing in the morning, done. Your dehydration, for all your productivity, health, brain, body function, all those different things that we were talking about beforehand, will go. You got to replace it first thing in the morning. So how does hydration actually work? So what happens is hydration works. This is one of the quotes from a study. The rate at which, so if you're dehydrated, this is how hydration works. The rate at which water leaves your stomach into your small intestine is the rate at which you hydrate. So what happens is water goes into your stomach, down your throat, in your mouth, down your throat, into your stomach. Then it kind of sits there. And then once the actual valve in the bottom of your stomach opens up to let water pass into your small intestines is when you start to hydrate. So hence why drinking so much water in the morning, like I said, 700 mils to a litre, hence why that's such a big amount, is because then it'll actually leave your stomach and go into your small intestine. What? Because when the small intestine is when the water absorbs. It's not going to absorb in your guts, it's going to absorb in your small intestine. We want to get it in there. So it's really good drinking on a empty stomach and a large amount of water to get it in so it gets absorbed. If you've got the salts and things like that, the volume of the water is going to be better. Those minerals are going to get through your small intestine, into your bloodstream, and you're going to feel fantastic. So that's how that works. Yeah, and there is like super huge benefits. I'm going to try and just get some of these benefits up on the notes here. So yeah, benefits are huge, especially for peak performance and the rest of it. Muscle repair, digestion is nuts, stops you from fatiguing, improves your heart rate recovery, your parasympathetic state improves, increased focus, increased concentration, improved function and movement, improved cognitive function, huge amounts. Brain is 75% water. Now this is really interesting, one of the huge benefits. If you look at the muscle and the fascia, this is the same, happens in your brain, your mind, your body, everywhere else. If you don't know what fascia is, if you get like a steak and you like a big steak and you got to pull the fat off the edge and you see all that clear stuff that goes through the steak, or like that's on top of a chicken breast, or when you cut something open you see all that the clear stuff in a meat, that's your fascia. And basically your fascia is like more important than your muscle. That's what actually signals your muscle, because that's where all the electrical stimulations come from your brain down to your nervous system into your fascia. And it's your fascia that actually tells your muscles to grow when you're like stimulating them or adapt and things like that. And it's the fascia, once it's stretched and you have like, when fascia gets stressed and it's healthy, and when the muscles gets damaged is when everything will actually grow. Because you can also have you can damage your muscle, but if your fascia's tight, then the muscle hasn't got any room to grow. So your muscles won't grow. What happens is your fascia, right? It looks sort of like, when you're extremely dehydrated, it looks like a spider web in your muscles, right? And there's nothing going on there. It's dry and crusty. When you're hydrated, right, all the fascia is completely lubed up and looks wet. It looks completely wet, which is extremely important, because if you're hydrated and your fascia is hydrated and it's not all crusty and spider-like, not only is your body going to be like extremely optimized from muscle and bone and healing point of view with ligaments and tendons and things, but also because water is a huge conductor of electricity, the signals from your brain to your body are going to be significantly increased. Which comes back to the study that we said at the start, saying that like your reaction time is slower when you're dehydrated because you're all crusty on the inside. Don't be crusty. It's the main point out of this. So like, yeah, there's some huge benefits on there. When you're hydrated, you can actually you can perform optimally and perform how you're supposed to perform and think and feel and all the rest of it. Huge benefits cognitive wise, and just health in general. I think everyone knows that. But what you can do, so dehydration is like I've said beforehand. Dehydration occurs mainly in the morning. The biggest tip you can take out from this is to drink a lot of water with salt and lemon in the morning. You have to get a huge bottle of water. So one thing that we always I try to go over a lot of the time is, people have that saying that's like, I've heard before, I don't know if you have, spend a lot of money on your bed because you spend a third of your life sleeping. Makes a bunch of sense. Like, yeah, why wouldn't I have the best sleep ever? Like, I'm going to be in bed all that time, make it as best and comfortable as possible, and there's a whole other reasons for sleep stuff. I'll get to that another time. But, yeah, hydration-wise, it's like, well, if you're going to be drinking all the time and you need, like, all this water, and, like, we live currently in stressful, fast-paced, air-conditioned, we're fighting a lot of different diseases and things out with our immune system needs to be really strong. Like, we need a lot of water. And a lot of the food and things that we eat are high-sugared, processed. If it comes out of a packet, it's fucking processed. I don't care what you say. If it comes out of a pack and you're eating anything out of a packet, you're going to need to drink more water. A lot for those reasons, or get more minerals in somehow. And a lot of the water that we drink has been filtered, run through taps, all the rest of it. It's not from a stream where it's been grounded. It's literally been hitting rocks or come out of a well where it's an extremely high magnesium and potassium intake because of all the growth and all the good things on the rocks, right? We don't have that. We go through metal pipes and we have like a higher copper and fluoride content. So we need to be, we're not as hydrated as what we were, hundreds of years ago when we were drinking water out of that. We actually needed less water because the water was so much more dense than what it is now with the salts and nutrients. Whoa, that makes so much sense. So what can we do? And it's like, man, just go spend a bit of cash on a water bottle. Like, I bought this bad boy. It cost me 100 Australian dollars, or just over 100 Australian dollars. It's 4 litre container with 3.77 litres, 1 gallon. I drink one of those a day. That's like my water intake done. I don't have to worry about drinking different bottles of water and figuring out, or having things with plastic and having the rest of it. Stainless steel, got it. So huge thing to you is, huge tip, takeaway, action point. Get yourself like a water bottle you like, whether it's a glass one, stainless steel, whatever. Even if it is plastic, try to get a BPA free one, but make sure it's a big one, so you only have to do 1 or 2 waters, and you just know that's all I just got to finish this a day, and that's done. And then also notice as well beforehand when you need more water, if you're in a low carb diet, not eating much, or the rest of it, like, okay, maybe I'll need to increase whatever I'm currently doing. And then figure out how much water you're actually taking in one day. So just spend one day. Fucking just do this, just one day, just figure out how many litres of water you actually drunk in that one day, and be mindful of it, and think about it. And then go, fuck, did I drink enough or did I not? Like, that's extremely important to do. Another one is, this is a huge study that come out. You hydrate when you're moving. If you're just sitting still and you're not doing much, and you're drinking a shitload of water and you're pissing, water's not getting anywhere, your fascia's all crusty, because it's just gone into your stomach and then it's gone pissed out. It's not getting absorbed because your body's not moving. Your body doesn't need to send water anywhere. So you actually have to move to hydrate as well, which is huge. And you got to walk. You just got to walk, move around, do whatever. If you're someone who's at a sit-down job, get up. Or if you're at school or anything like that, get up every hour, 2 hours, just do like 10, 20 squats, walk around, do whatever you need to move, because that's going to hydrate you better than just sitting there drinking a shitload of water. You got to get that water moving around. That's why I think going up to piss, like we're drinking lots, and if you're going to need to pee all the time, is a good thing. You should be celebrating that. Fuck, I need to piss all the time. Good! You got to move to go piss, and it's an indicator that you're hydrated. And then also, yeah, that's the main points. And then there's 3 things that include that increase water absorption. That's salt, lemon, ginger. Boom, have a salt, lemon, ginger tea, baby. Or just put some ginger. Like, I get ginger a lot of the time, haven't been recently, but I'm definitely going to do it again because I've just remembered by doing this podcast, thank fuck, is I get like a huge amount of ginger, blend it up, put it in a little jar that I keep in my fridge, and I make like ginger teas, put ginger in my food, and then put ginger in my water as well. And I never felt so good when I'm on the ginger train. It's amazing. How much water do we need a day? Here we go. So, roughly, this is like recommended from one study, but it's, I'm not going to say that because it's a lot more than that. Let's just calculate our water needs instead. So, if you want to figure out how to actually calculate your, how much water you need, roughly, I'm going to go by just the young adults because there's like, the adjustments are so tiny. But basically, you want to have 30 to 40 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight. And then, for every hour of exercise you do, walking, training, whatever, you need to add another litre. And if it's a hot day, add another litre. Just for an example, me, 90 kilos, let's say 35 mils to go in the middle, 30 to 40 mils. 35 mils, it's something like 91 kilos, it's something like 3 point something litres. I exercise for 2 hours a day, 4.5, 5.5 litres. That's what I need to be drinking. I have one of these, 4 litres, and I have 2 of my Celtic salt waters, so I have 1 in the morning, and then I have 1 in the afternoon. Done. With that, water done. So that's quite a lot of water, 5.5 litres, but I am training and cardioing for like an hour a day. So, that'll do it. And I notice when I'm not drinking that much water, I feel like shit, which is just crazy. So, yeah, that's like the main points out of this podcast. I hope you learned something out of this. If you're not, tell me to get fucked. But listen, hang on, just saying some stuff. If you like this stuff, like seriously, please subscribe to the website because I'll give you all the first access to stuff. Now, action points for you from this. Buy yourself a big water bottle. Go to a $2 store. I've bought a big glass water bottle for $2 for once. Start drinking water in the morning because you're dehydrated at night time. And yeah, I was gonna say add salt and stuff to your meals. If I just go to your water. Now, just gonna recap just a few things. I'm just gonna quickly go over. All the studies show the good stuff. If you're dehydrated, it decreases performance and productivity, and it's very easy to be dehydrated. Our bodies are just like complete water. Dehydration occurs when the water that you lose is more than the water that's coming in. Symptoms are like tired, lethargic, struggling to sleep, thirsty, sunken eyes. It's actually anxiety and depression come up there as well for those. How we lose water is sweating, breathing, peeing. The guts thing, how I talked about the guts, how the water actually goes into your guts and into your small intestine. That's how it's actually absorbed. So that's why the importance of having a large amount in the water is so important. Obviously, you've got all the benefits of feeling amazing, the physical benefits as well. And I talked about the crusty spider web. We don't want to be a crusty spider web. No, thank you. So yeah, and then what we figured out the calculation: 35 mils times your body weight, and then add an hour for every exercise on top of that. Boom! Big flex. Hydration is important as fuck. Big love, guys. Subscribe to my shit if you haven't. Let me know if you like any of these podcasts and stuff, and happy Frosty Fridays. See ya.